All right, welcome to my new series on monthly investing. I had alluded to this in my monthly portfolio update, and here it is. So for this particular account, these are the ground rules that I'm going to implement. So I will transfer $250 into this account every month. And in fact, I've already set it up to do a recurring transfer on the first of the month, and then we can go in and make our buys. But the rule is to invest $250 into this account each month. And as we buy into the account, we'll do the live reallocation as necessary as well. Speaking of allocation, for this particular account that I'm going to do, starting from scratch, I'm going to use an allocation that's very similar to what I did for my $1 million portfolio, except it's going to be tweaked slightly. So here's the allocation for this account. We're going to start with 30% large cap growth, 30% small cap value, 25% government treasuries, and 10% gold. So these allocations are very similar to what I use for my $1 million portfolio, except tweaked very slightly. The gold allocation is down a bit, and instead of doing a REIT, I put everything into equities. And I decided to split the equities half into large cap growth and half into small cap value. I picked these allocations because these percentages work really well for when you're calculating how much to buy into each account. The other change with this particular video series on the monthly investing is that we are starting from zero, and I'm using Fidelity. And I'll show you some of my other accounts at Fidelity as well, and how I use Fidelity to pretty much manage my day-to-day life. But that's for another video. It's kind of teasing that one. But let's go ahead and get into the buys for this portfolio using that allocation that I had outlined. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the large cap growth portion. So I'll place a trade on Fidelity. Just as with the $1 million portfolio, for the large cap growth, I'm going to select the NASDAQ 100. So that's QQQ. And we're going to buy. And with Fidelity is really nice because I don't have to buy whole shares. Schwab does have the stock slices, but it's really like the S&P 500, and there's some limitations to that. It's not all ETFs. But with Fidelity, you can buy dollars. And as far as I know, it works with everything that I'm interested in. So let's go ahead and buy 30% of large cap growth. So 30% of 250 is going to be $75. And we'll do a market order. Get that placed. All right, it's done. Let's go ahead and buy the 30% of small cap value. For that, I'm going to use VIOV, which is a Vanguard small cap 600 value ETF. So this is different from their VBR, which is also another small cap value ETF from Vanguard. I just prefer to use VIOV. So it's 30% of this. So we're going to buy dollars, $75, market value, and place the order. All right. The next one is the 25% US Treasury. And this is going to be a little bit different than the $1 million portfolio, where I was using TLT as the vehicle for that. TLT is an iShares long-term treasury, so it was 20 plus years of duration. For this one, I'm actually going to adjust slightly and use Gov, which is an iShares treasury bond ETF. The difference with this is that this is now across the broad duration spectrum, but it's still just U.S. Treasury bonds. So you're going to get some short term, some intermediate, some 10 years, some long term, all in there. So for this, we're going to do 30% as well. So that's another $75. So buy $1.75 market. All right. Let's get out of here and see where the portfolio sits before we buy the gold. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page. All right, so here we are. We have 30% in large cap growth, 30% in small cap value, 30% in U.S. Treasury bonds using these ETFs. So there's about $25 left to spend. And I'm going to place another trade, and this time for gold. And for this one, instead of using GLD, I'm going to use the GLDM, which is the same thing. It's still the S&P gold shares, except it's the minis. The main difference is that the expense ratio is a little bit lower, so that works for this smaller portfolio. You also don't get to do a lot of options on it because the volume is a little bit different than GLD. But for our purposes, GLDM is essentially the same. I think it's like 1/5 the cost or something like that. So let's see here. We have $25. So let's go ahead and buy that at market. So it's telling me that because this is a new account and I'm trading commodities, I got to agree to this. I'm going to go ahead and agree, and then we'll come back. All right, so I've agreed to their terms, and I'm going to place this order for the gold minis. And that's it. So let's refresh our portfolio again and see where we are with the position. All right, and there we are. So we have four asset classes in this portfolio for about $250. And like I said, I will be buying into this account at $250 a month going forward. And I'll make it live and I'll share it with everybody so that you can follow along. And if you want to do this yourself, you can use Fidelity. You don't have to do $250. You can do more or less. They're very flexible. So thanks for following me on this new series, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.